It's easy enough that literally every time you see that in a movie, you should be thinking, why are they stupider than Grue? Right? Welcome to Inchworm,
the podcast in which we're inching through Worm. I'm Jenny.
And I'm Ted.
We read 10.1.
Yes, the first chapter of the Parasite arc.
Thank you. I did not remember the name of the arc.
And yet one of your theories came true.
Did I predict that Regent could take over an entire person?
Oh, I mean that Sirius was one of Rachel's dogs.
Oh, yeah.
No. Yes, that was your original prediction for Regent's power.
Oh. And when I said he had a secret power, did I say he could take over an entire person? That just seems so far-fetched.
It was your initial, I thought more about Regent's name, and I think this is what his power is.
Okay, yeah, he is the Regent of your mind. He is a Yeerk.
I know. Well, we don't totally know, because, Yeerks have kind of, they can, peer into your memories and stuff. But he's at least a body snatcher.
Yes. I don't know that he can read her mind.
Yeah, this is one of the big, Animorphs connections that is not possible to mention until you get to the reveal of the story.
And there is, Taylor has ethical questions about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should hear what happened, though, first. Will you tell us?
Absolutely. So, we are back in Taylor's head. She and the Undersiders, which now is a group that appears to include Imp, are in a mostly abandoned building in the, docks downtown adjacent area of Brockton Bay that has been doing pretty badly. And Taylor remarks, there are a lot of bugs. Flooded city with services cut off. Good for the bugs of the world.
She gets a power-up.
She picks out a seemingly abandoned apartment, and the rest of the Undersiders pile in. Bitch and her dogs, and Taylor and her bugs case the joint, make sure that it is unoccupied, and they hustle in. Grue has been carrying Sophia, who is still unconscious. They set it up so that she is tied up, secured with live electrical wires on a chair, reinforced so that she's not able to, knock it over easily. And they quickly go through all of Shadowstalker's stuff and gear. Tattletale makes sure that her GPS tracker is disabled, and they make sure that she's fully disarmed. Imp and Grue kind of get into a spat based on a sarcastic comment that she makes that he mostly ignores. Taylor reflects on how her relationship with Bitch in particular has really deteriorated recently. Taylor thinks maybe Bitch is starting to blame her for the sacrifice of her dogs in the battle against Leviathan, because Taylor's the one who was saved. But Bitch is just getting angrier and angrier the longer they spend together, and suddenly, Tattletale says she's awake, and the Undersiders circle in. Shadowstalker briefly pretends to be asleep before Tattletale calls her on it, and then she says, all right, well, you guys got me. What's the plan here? And Regent approaches her and just kind of sits down in a chair in front of her, and suddenly Sophia starts having this really strong reaction, no, do you guys know what's in his files? Do you know? And Tattletale's like, yeah, we know. And she starts to really struggle to escape, and Regent asks for some privacy. Whatever he's going to be doing could take 15 minutes, could take 3 hours, but they gag Shadowstalker and leave the room. They can kind of hear Shadowstalker struggling, swearing, screaming from under her gag. Taylor has bugs on her, can tell that, she sort of sometimes will flicker into her shadow state, but never enough that she's at risk of floating into the electrical wires. They've done a pretty good job of making it so that there's no way she can get out without really hurting herself. And while Regent's doing whatever he's going to do, the rest of the Undersiders are just kind of biding their time. Imp and Grue again start arguing. Imp wants to watch TV. She's bored. And Grue shuts her down. Tattletale's finally look, I think a teenager lived here. Go find what you can find in that kid's room, which is a good way to keep Imp occupied. And, Grue and Tattletale talk a little bit about the new team dynamic now that Imp's here. Grue goes to go lie down, and he's tossing and turning. Rachel is sleeping very peacefully with her dogs on the couch. Taylor notes that Sirius, as I mentioned, and Bentley, her bulldog, as well as Angelica, are all here. Tattletale and Taylor briefly check in. Tattletale asks if she's okay, and Taylor says she's all in. Then Taylor starts reflecting basically about, again, what they're doing, which we're left in a lot of tension about, to Sophia. And Taylor rattles off all the reasons why Sophia deserves whatever she's going to get. And then she kind of thinks, but I don't know if she deserves this. And Taylor tries to read, but is kind of distracted. She cases the building with her bugs. There are some people around, but really not that many. And all of a sudden, she realizes that Regent in the other room is still where he was, but Shadowstalker has disappeared. Taylor jumps up, but can tell by looking at Rachel and Lisa's reactions that Sophia is standing behind her. And quickly, Sophia grabs her, throws her to the ground, points her crossbow in her face, and starts laughing, then puts the crossbow away. And then Regent comes through the door back into the common area, laughing in the exact same cadence as Shadowstalker. And Sophia says, "Totally got you, dork." And that's where the chapter ends.
It was a great fake out. It did occur to me, I was like, but is Regent already controlling her? Because it was clear that that was where it was going. But it was still so alarming to think that, maybe Sophia did escape. Because, maybe it's a setback and they'll end on a cliffhanger of Sophia's free. But no, she is completely under Regent's control.
Yeah, I will say it's really fun going back just in sort of podcast history, because I remember when we did learn Regent's power, it is in the chapter where Grue talks about how on Parahumans Online, he put in some misinformation about his powers, and then immediately afterward, Tattletale's this is how Regent's power works, which is an overt lie. So it was very fun to have you speculate based on his name and get it right. And then just kind of get used to the fact that, his power, it's not that flashy, but it
has done a lot.
He makes very effective use of it. Yeah. And it turns out
he's got this nuclear level where
yeah. Only one of the masters on the Undersiders is someone you have to worry about.
I assume it's him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a secret power that they didn't want Taylor to know about, at least as of Arc 8.
Right. Well, now she knows.
Yeah.
Now she's all in.
Whatever that means.
Whatever that means. Okay.
Yeah, where do you want to start?
I want to start with the power. Really fascinating power. So, yeah, normally his sort of everyday power, he can kind of make you jerk and make your body kind of spasm, do things that are not super controlled. He kind of messes up your control, but he's not directly able to dictate very closely what you do, it seems like. But this, if he spends enough time, and it depends on the person, so I guess different people have different levels of resistance, or just maybe there's something that's not even personality related, there's something about you.
I wasn't sure if it was the implication was depending on how easy it is for me, or depending how much she resists, mentally, or it's very unclear.
Doesn't seem like it takes 3 hours, but it doesn't seem like it takes 15 minutes either. It takes longer than that. And Sophia is someone who would hate this. But, we don't know what attributes would determine the length of how long it takes. I'm sure she was resisting as hard as she could. And she did not succeed. He did manage to take her over.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hijack was his name back when he was up. Where was he? Somewhere north.
Yeah.
And, was he Canadian? Is he the one who was in Canada?
He is Canadian.
Yeah.
I apologize if that's a spoiler.
No, it's come up before. I had just forgotten.
Yeah.
I had him mentally in New Hampshire or something. Yeah. I was no, I think
I feel like that was an incidental spoiler I gave you fairly early on.
Yeah, but it has come up.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah. So I guess this is what his dad had him doing to people. Like, what a coup for Heartbreaker to get someone who can fully take over another person. Like, that's really in line with how he likes to operate, it seems like.
And it's another fun example, quote unquote, of family powers, right?
Oh, yeah.
Heartbreaker's power is total emotional domination.
Control,
and Regent has this, like, nervous system control.
So, on a practical level, he is controlling Sophia's body, and it doesn't seem to be like a puppetry thing where he has to do what she does. Him laughing in the same cadence, it didn't sound like he had to be laughing to make her laugh. It seemed to me like
he's showing them. It's like a demonstration.
He was laughing. Also, he was laughing through Sophia, and then he was laughing because he thought it was funny. He was playing a joke. But when he made Sophia laugh, he made her laugh in the way he would laugh because that's the only way he knows how to laugh.
Yeah.
And when Sophia makes like a step to the side, Taylor thinks like there's something off about her movements. Like it doesn't look like how she, like maybe it's a little more arrogant or something.
His power doesn't make him a good actor, right? He can't perfectly mimic Sophia's gait or
he doesn't have
tone of voice.
He doesn't have, to go back to Animorphs, he doesn't get the instincts of the animal.
Right, exactly. So
it seems like he can control her without necessarily having to do the things himself. I don't know what his range is, so that's a question. I don't know how long he can do this. Like, if he, once he has done it, can he kind of sustain it indefinitely? Unclear. I don't know how well he can fool people who know her.
Right.
Because, you know, the words are all very familiar with her, actually with two exceptions. That's actually an interesting point. So presumably they have some plan that involves them infiltrating the wards through Sophia.
Okay, so, right, this is the part one, and that seems like a natural part two.
The protectorate, but she has a lot more access to the wards. So I don't know whether it's like we're setting up a long-term spy, or which would be really difficult potentially for Regent to sustain, unless it's just like a set and forget kind of power.
Yeah.
Or if it's like we need her to go in and get some specific piece of information or piece of equipment, and then we can let her go. Complications are, I don't know, though I assume if Regent has control over her nervous system, does he also get her sensory feedback? That would certainly be much easier if he could.
Yeah.
It also seems like he was having her point a crossbow at Taylor while he was still in the other room, so he must, because he couldn't have done that without having that visual, that line of sight.
She, like, disarms her. Like, he uses her to disarm Taylor completely, like, throws her to the ground. Like,
right. So he wasn't doing that blind. No, that wouldn't really make sense. So he can see, presumably, all the other senses, hear all that through her, which is very convenient. So he doesn't need to be, like, in the building with her the way that Parian can't see through her stuffed animals, so she has to be, like, you know. There's a question of, if they're doing it to get something, what do they do? Do they just release her afterwards? And then the wards will know that the Undersiders have this piece of information or thing or whatever it is. So either they're planning to kill Sophia, which doesn't seem like something Taylor would be on board with, or it's something where, like, it doesn't really matter if the wards know. Once they have the thing, they have it, and that's, you know, good enough.
Yeah. I mean, the natural consequence, though, is that, you know, what was a personal beef between Shadowstalker and Skitter has almost certainly escalated to a much worse personal beef between Shadowstalker and the Undersiders as a whole.
Yes, and potentially will put the Undersiders a lot higher on the wards and the Protectorate's list of dangers.
Right.
Right now they're very low, so maybe that doesn't do too much. They have a lot on their plate, the Protectorate and the wards, so maybe that doesn't really matter. Yeah, so that's if they're just sending her in on a fetch quest. Yeah. Which, like, is this really necessary in order to get something from the war? Like, is this the best way to do that? I don't know. I mean, could send some bugs in. Maybe there'd be other ways. I don't know what they're trying to do.
Right.
If they're trying to set up a longer-term spy, it would be kind of fascinating to have Sophia and Chariot both as spies. One of them known, one of them potentially unknown. Yeah. Could just be interesting. I suspect it's not, like, super long term, but it could be, like, they want her to, like, go on some kind of mission and they want a different outcome, or I don't know.
And there's an open question. Are the Undersiders still working with Coil? And if they do they know about the Chariot thing?
Actually, that is a good point.
Yeah.
I don't know that he would tell them about
But
Chariot.
I could see... Right, exactly.
But
there
Tattletale
could be,
might figure it out.
Right. And Sophia knows, but we don't know that, again, with like the Yeerk comparison, we don't know that Alec has any reason to know just because he can puppet her.
Right. He doesn't necessarily have access to her memories or thoughts. And in fact, Glory Girl thinks it's impossible for him to have access to Sophia's memories and thoughts. Tattletale didn't seem to believe that. Tattletale might know that, in fact, someone can do it because Regent can do it. Unclear. Yeah, so I still don't really know their plan, but I love where it's heading. It's so exciting.
Yeah.
Clearly there's like some heisty type thing going on. And it's so fun that we just saw so much about the wards because clearly they're going to be a big part of this next phase of the book. Makes a lot of sense that we got this close-up view if they're sort of the target of the Undersiders' activity.
Well, that's interesting. Well, how does that make you feel? You expressed a lot of affection for the wards.
It's true.
Sophia accepted.
I don't think the Undersiders are like, we're on a mission to take down all the wards. Like, why? Like, there's nothing wrong with the ward. Like, I assume they're more like a means to an end. So hopefully this won't have to result in the wards having something terrible happen to them on an individual level. But yeah, it is kind of a bummer to have this group that we're attached to. I mean, our protagonist is part of this group. And then this other group, which is Sophia accepted, a lot more morally likable, and have them be opposed.
But it sounds like your loyalties lie 100% with our protagonist and
certainly
her gang.
The majority of my loyalties lie with Taylor.
But I do appreciate that structurally. It does continue to raise the stakes for Taylor that the readers have been so now brought into the world of the wards.
Oh, that's such an interesting way to look at it. It raises the stakes, like Taylor has to win us over with what she's doing.
Exactly.
Because our loyalties were just temporarily shifted.
Even in this chapter, like Arc 9 didn't really do anything to soften our feelings towards Sophia at all, right?
Yeah.
So and even that, Taylor is like,
yeah.
I'm not sure I can countenance this in this chapter. And then, but for the rest of her team, right, we're very much feeling a lot different than we felt about them at the bank job.
Yeah, yes. Taylor continues to have my respect. And, I mean, the rest of the Undersiders, it's always been a little bit touch and go, right? Like, they have always been villains, and they were Taylor's friends, and it was great that most of what we got to see them do was fighting other worse villains.
Yeah.
So that makes it easy to like them.
Yeah.
But it's complicated, and I'm very curious in what way it has become, not uncomplicated, but like at least a full commitment from Taylor.
Yeah.
So she does say all in to Lisa, and Lisa kind of echoes her all in a way that was really surprising to me because I had been, hypothesizing like, okay, maybe she is working with them temporarily. Maybe she's hired them. There's like some kind of alliance, but if she is all in, I have to believe they're either not siding with Coil or... No, I mean, I think it has to be that they're not siding with Coil because Taylor had such a firm line about Dinah.
Yeah.
Like when Lisa talks to her at the end of Arc 8, she says, you might have to accept the girl, and Taylor says, never.
Yeah.
And Lisa says, like, never is a strong word, but then later, just a few pages later, Lisa can tell that Taylor has decided on something and she's going to move forward.
Yeah.
And I can't really believe that within those few pages she's like, oh, just kidding, I will accept Dinah. Like, I think she must have come up with some plan that results in the Undersiders not siding with Coil. Because, like, I also can't quite believe that she'd be like, all right, well, we just rescue Dinah and then I'm fine siding with Coil. Because she knows that Coil's trying to take basically unlimited power for himself and that he's someone who would do this with Dinah.
Right.
She's not going to be okay with that. She just was saying she needs to be better than Coil, better than Mr. Gladly, better than Armsmaster and Sophia. Mm-hmm. I don't think that means, like, I'm just going to tweak Coil's plan and then I'm fine. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. So if she is all in on the Undersiders and Tattletale is saying that Tattletale and or the Undersiders are all in on Taylor's plan, like there's some collective thing they're all in on, it can't be helping Coil.
Yeah.
Which I just remember this now. I thought of this while reading and then had kind of forgotten. I do wonder if a reason for taking Sophia like this is not so much to get information or something from the wards in the Protectorate, but to give information to the wards in the Protectorate in a way that they will believe and act upon and verify.
Fascinating.
Like, if Taylor wants them to know about Coil, she might be able to go up to them and talk to them. I don't think she would trust them that far, like with her own liberty. Like maybe she could come up with some plan to like arrange a conversation where she can definitely escape. But like they're going to be skeptical of her because they know that she initially wanted to be a hero, but then kind of joined with the villains and they, you know, they don't really know what the status is. So I don't know that they would believe her if she says, like, hey, here's this guy. Like, hopefully they would do some verification. So maybe they don't need to take over Sophia's body in order to give this information to the heroes. Like, maybe this kind of extreme measure, like, maybe it wouldn't justify something that Taylor could just tell them. But
it's certainly, hearing you lay that out, it feels like a fairly convoluted plan of, like, well, wasn't there an easier way? But on the other hand, they are doing this for some reason. So,
yes.
It's already a very high-risk plan. So hopefully it's grounded in something that...
Oh, it must be grounded in something. Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the challenges...
has brought Taylor along and feels like, okay, well, there was no other way we could do this.
It has to be kind of, there's no other way we could do this.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure Regent doesn't use this power a lot. It doesn't seem like he does it lightly, so...
Yeah, your speculation about the state of Taylor and the Undersiders in Coil was really interesting to me, because it hit home how we're back in Taylor's head. This is, again, it's like really the first chapter of book 2 after our like prologue with the wards, right? And we get the Undersiders basically squatting in some random apartment, right? Their loft is gone, but they're in this like neutral transitory space.
Well, they might have a space they're living that they don't want Sophia to see.
Oh yeah, of course. But I'm saying where we rejoin them.
Yes.
It's the Undersiders as a group, but they are not, their familiar home is gone, right? Mm-hmm. But they're not in Coil's base. They're not like in anywhere that really answers those larger questions. The setting is just like they're in an anonymous place, an anonymous transitory space in Brockton Bay. And we get the all-in teasing, we get some other stuff, but really very little reflection on any of those bigger pieces of the plan. So it's a great way to ease us back into Taylor's perspective and keep us teased about exactly what is going down. Because the all-in, like, Lisa's just kind of saying, like, are you okay with what we are doing to Shadowstalker right now? And Taylor's like, yes, I'm all in with that. But, of course, there's more significance to it. We're reading into it like, well, it's the full plan, or it's the new version of the Undersiders.
It sounded like this is something that they have established, and she's referencing, yes, I'm all in.
Exactly.
One of the challenges of trying to predict this book, I don't think it's a challenge of reading the book. I think if I were just reading it, I would just be like going along happily, like following where it leads me. But a challenge of trying to predict it is that it's so good at changing our focus and making whatever it's focusing on right now seem like the biggest, most inevitable thing. Mm-hmm. So, like, the end of arc 7, it was like, well, how is she going to bring down Coil? And then at the end of arc 8, it's like, okay, well, obviously she has to do something with these endbringers, but maybe also the heroes. But Coil is still a problem. And the question of, like, when Taylor looks at this landscape and thinks, I mean, there are two questions. There's what is most important to deal with, and what am I well positioned to deal with? Like, what could I change? Like, if there are these 3 problems and I have a hammer and only one of them is a nail, you're going to fix the nail, even if maybe one of the other problems is a little more important, you know.
Right.
Like, maybe the endbringers are the biggest problem for the world, but she doesn't have any way in to solve the endbringer problem, so she's going to focus on Coil.
Yeah.
Or maybe Coil is a bigger problem, or maybe not, you know, but like she thinks that if the heroes were better, then they could take down Coil. So actually she's focusing on, I don't know what she'd do, change the hero system? Like, take them down? You don't want to take them down because then Coil can really win easily, but... You know, it's hard to know what is in the forefront of her mind as a goal. Yeah. We know she wants to be better than all those people she listed, but what does that mean? And what does she want to be better? You know, what does she want to aim her betterness at?
Absolutely. And I do think Arc 9 did such a good job of getting us to refocus from the Endbringer stakes of the whole world stuff back to just
but I
how
still
it's brought
care
to
so much
recover.
about that.
But yeah, we're not, there's so much, we're 20% of the way through, so there's so much story left to take us back there.
Yes, that's so true. We can circle back. It doesn't have to be immediate.
The other thing that I was thinking about when you were talking about, what they're doing here and, Coil and Dinah, for our last mailbag, we had talked about comparisons between Worm and Animorphs. And something you said to me off mic was that there wasn't much in Worm that was like as horrifying as like someone becoming a controller, having a Yeerk in their head and, losing control of their body in this way. And I really wanted that to come up on mic because I knew we were going to get to this chapter
I'm so sorry.
here.
Yes.
But I feel like we haven't talked about the question that Taylor brings up in the chapter of
is it justified?
Yeah, is it like...
Or not is it justified, because we don't know the reason, but is it okay?
Right. Like, justification aside, right? Like, the way Taylor frames it is like, Sophia has been awful, and she just tried to kill me.
Yes.
And
cold blood, yeah.
Taylor is not sure she deserves it, is what she thinks.
Yeah.
So did you...
which is really extreme.
But did you have any of those, like, squicked out, like, oh my god, they're doing this to her and that's so horrifying feeling? Or do you feel like it was more the, like, a feral smile crosses your face, like, oh, I can't wait to see what Regent is going to do?
I think it was more the second one.
Yeah.
The previous chapter did such a good job of cementing Sophia as, like, the most, maybe not the most hateable. I think there are probably things she could do on screen recently that would really, like, kind of raise our anger against her.
Yeah.
More, but, like, really justifying, like, oh, this is someone you can really do anything to. And I said that last chapter.
Exactly.
It's like she drew a blade across Taylor's throat and was hoping that would kill her. And so at this point, carte blanche. And Taylor thinks this might be too extreme for the carte blanche.
Yeah. And certainly, like, Taylor might know a little bit more about the presumed consequences.
Right, I was going to say,
duration,
part of
lasting
it might
effect,
be
etc. Right,
what
she might know more.
Yes.
Right, about the plan, or right, yeah, how Sophia's going to end up, after this. But yeah, it's sort of what we know now is just the horror of her being tied in a chair and tortured as Regent took over her body.
Yeah, and I think that's the kind of thing that I would be much more squeamish about in real life than in a book. Hopefully in real life it would never come up. But, like, I think having written Sophia off so thoroughly as a villain, I think writing her off like that is a little easier to do in a book, especially because we were just in her head. If she was ever going to be sympathetic, that was when. And she wasn't. Like, it's hard to write from someone's point of view and make them really unsympathetic like that. And, that chapter pulled it off.
Right. Yeah, how awful she is to Emma.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels like the kind of moral choice that is...
And that's also a really interesting way of looking at the structure here, is that Wild Bill wanted to go here, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, they're going to do this puppeteering of Sophia, and
he wanted to make sure we knew first that she deserved it.
I don't... That's not what I was going to say. I was going to say that getting us in Sophia's head and keeping her unlikable really helps soften the ground for us to go along with the Undersiders.
Well, that's kind of what I meant.
Right, but I think it's different.
That's different from
I think it's different.
Mine was a little sloppier as a phrasing, but yes.
Yeah, well, but I think it really hinges on the... Not to get into, again, real life, because what would that even mean, morals about this, but, like, I think it is true that if anyone deserves this, Sophia probably deserves this. But I don't think anybody deserves this.
That's fair, yeah.
It's like and it's also an example, right, like, we have Canary as another example of a similar power, right? She has the stuff that she says to you makes you do things, which is horrifying in a different way than, like, Regent taking over your body. But it's also a little bit like she got sent to the birdcage because of that. And also, like, so there's, I guess that's the risk that they're maybe taking on, but it's also like that's what his power is, right? So it's kind of like I'm thinking again a little bit of Kidwin and Chariot, and Kidwin being like, what, you're just not going to use your power?
Yeah.
Right? And so, like, it's a really... It makes it a little bit harder for me to condemn Regent full stop, in the way that, like, it's like, if you could choose to create technology that gave you this power over people, that would be evil. But, like, if this is your weird power, it's a lot harder.
You're just supposed to never use it. Yeah.
Exactly.
I was thinking about that. I was like, man, he was just set up for villainy from the start. Like, it does seem like what he's been doing in Brockton Bay with the Undersiders is sort of a side use of his power that's, like, much less inherently villain-coded. Yeah. Much less inherently evil. But, like, yeah, to use his full power, the only thing he can do, I mean, it's like the Yeerks. It's what they do. They're parasites. Yeah, there it is. That's why it's Parasite. Yeah. That makes me think it's going to go on for at least the whole arc.
Yikes.
Yeah.
So, Regent.
Yeah.
What vibe did you get off of him in this chapter? How did you feel about him? Did your feelings change at all? Like,
I don't know that they changed. He seems pretty chill about it. Like, I didn't know what he was going to do, so I wasn't watching for it, but I didn't really pick up on a lot of signs of discomfort. Like, he wants her gagged, and he wants privacy, which could just be for focus, could be a little bit more like, I don't like people watching me do this because it's weird and creepy. I don't know that I got that sense off him, though. And then when he does get her body, he kind of uses it to play a practical joke, which is very in line kind of with what we'd seen of him before. Yeah. Like, he's willing to just kind of see this as funny. It's maybe a little bit like... I still feel like the question he asked to Bakudo was a little bit calculated. It wasn't like a fully earnest, like, ooh, that was cool. How did he dissolve like that? Like, I think it was someone who's used to dealing with, an evil dad. And, I think it's a little bit of that was a little bit of a calculated persona. But, like, this sort of playing a practical joke with Sophia's body is, like, very insouciant.
Absolutely insouciant.
Yeah, he just, like, doesn't really care. Like, he seems unbothered. Or maybe it's a little bit his way of whistling in the dark. Like, he has to do, like, he deliberately makes himself unbothered. I don't want to give him too much credit for, like, oh, clearly there's, like, a tortured soul underneath who feels things and he's just hiding. Like, maybe he's just kind of like this. Like, I don't want to assume too much one way or the other.
Yeah. I also feel like we didn't get a lot from Regent this chapter, but there were two things. One is when he sits down and looks at her, right, she starts freaking out because she realizes, oh God, this is hijack. This is this is what they're going to do to me. And as he dismisses the other Undersiders, it says, like, he doesn't take his eyes off of her. Mm-hmm. And that read to me as, like, a very predatory thing, which it could be merely he's trying to intimidate her.
Yeah, or he's already started the thing.
It could be he started the thing, or it could be that he's enjoying it.
Could be.
And the other beat is that Regent is the one who says to her, she makes some quip about, like, this is unfair or whatever. And he's like, says the person who tried to slit my teammate's throat.
True.
So this is, like, the biggest thing that I got of his state of mind. So it's interesting that he's the one to bring that up. Like, does he feel like he needs to justify it? Is he focusing on a justification? Yeah. Is he genuinely angry? Yeah. Right? I remember when he heard about Taylor's trigger event, he was the one who got the most upset. Oh, yeah. Like, he was like, and you did nothing? Yeah. Right? Like, he was, like, genuinely angry about it. And you were sort of saying, well, in his life in Brockton Bay, he hasn't been using his power. And that invites the question of, like, was he intentionally not using his power because, like, he didn't want to use it anymore? Yeah. And so how much of this is a choice, an opportunity to, an exciting opportunity, or something that he feels a little conflicted about because maybe that was his past life, right? Like, there's so much we don't know about. That's such a good question.
That's such a good point about him not using his power in Brockton Bay. It could be that he doesn't want his dad to find him. That could be the only or main reason. But he did say, when he was talking about the stuff his dad made him do stuff that, like, violated his conscience.
Yeah.
And it might be that, like, using his power in this way violates his conscience.
So I am also very hesitant, like you were saying. I don't want to give him necessarily the benefit of a conscience, right? Like, it's just so hard to read anything off of him because of what we know about his trauma and just his personality of being like, yeah, whatever, man. So, like, it's really hard to tell. Like, I definitely got that sort of sinister vibe off of him. But I'm really curious, about his state of mind going into this.
Yeah.
If it's full-throated, like, ha ha ha, I can't wait to have her under my control, versus like, well, this is good for phase 2 of the plan, and she tried to kill Skitter.
Yeah.
So I should.
I also wonder.
It's very different.
One of the things that I would just reread this conversation because I was curious how, like, the last time we saw Lisa and Taylor, one of the things Lisa said to Taylor at the end of arc 8 was, if you want to come back, there's going to have to be some sacrifice. For one thing, you're going to have to stop keeping secrets and, like, communicate with us and tell us everything. I forget how she phrases it, but that makes me wonder if she did tell them about Sophia being her bully. And like you said, Regent was one of the most angry. Like, he might be willing to do this. Like, even if he's not willing to do this in general anymore, like, he might be like, okay, well, that girl deserves it.
Yeah. And it'll be interesting to see, because Taylor does not take any active satisfaction, despite the fact that Sophia sucks so much. Like, there wasn't really anything in the chapter that I could read into as, like, Taylor's like, well, I'm kind of glad. Like, when she goes up against Lung the first time, she's like, bugs, this is fun. But, like, I didn't get any of that off of her. Yeah. So it'll be really interesting to see if that comes up or not.
It also maybe sheds more light on why they waited so long to intervene when Sophia was attacking Taylor. Like, if they wanted her to behave in such a way that they would really know that this was, merited.
That's really interesting.
All right, well, she did actually try to kill Taylor in cold blood for having seen her face. Okay, that makes us feel okay about this.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, it's so hard. Like, it's probably not true that, like, just executing Shadowstalker would be better than what they're doing. But then, like, a part of me is, it's really tough. It's tough to swallow. I don't know if it's just the Andalite propaganda, but it's tough to swallow. Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's not hitting me quite as hard.
Yeah. It also, it is very much like in the world of superpowers, it does feel like there are a lot of things that feel tropey and sort of like controlling someone else, whether it's physically, mentally, through like Manchurian Candidate style, like hypnosis or whatever, right? It does feel very tropey, and the sense that you have of like, and they're going to go on an exciting, mission, with this asset. It does go a long way to carrying you through the like,
I'm like, ooh, what's going to happen?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I'm so excited to see where this is going. Should we talk some more about the Undersiders themselves?
We should.
It seems like Grue is in charge now.
Why do you say that?
Because someone calls him boss.
Tattletale does.
Tattletale does, yeah. And he says to Imp, like, you agreed to follow my orders.
Yeah.
So I think that means he's like, he took Taylor's advice and made his role as the leader official. I also wonder, the fact that Tattletale calls him boss, which is a term that she had reserved for Coil, or she'd, used for Coil specifically, makes me wonder if Coil is no longer their boss, whether or not he knows that,
Yeah.
And that also might be a reason why Grue would step up to be the leader formally, because part of the reason they didn't need one before was that they had this boss figure, even if Tattletale was the only one talking to him. And now that they don't have that, they might have decided like, no, okay, we do actually need someone to lead us. And Grue is sort of the most positioned to do that, by virtue of his personality. So that seems to be the case. It does seem like Imp is a new member of the team, or at least, has signed on, has agreed to obey Grue. Grue says something about like dealing with her is really tiring, and Tattletale says like, we all got on each other's nerves at the beginning. And then there's an amazing moment where he looks at Taylor and then doesn't say anything. And Taylor's like, is he thinking that I'm the exception, but deciding not to say? And I'm like, yes, he was definitely thinking that she was the exception because he liked her right away.
Yeah.
She didn't get along with Bitch right away, and there was maybe some friction with Alec, but Tattletale and Grue both liked her right away.
Yeah.
And that is maybe different than when the four of them all came together.
Yeah.
He is probably wondering if part of the reason is that she was ingratiating herself. I don't think that's the actual reason, because I think pretty much she was acting like herself. I don't think she's a good actress. She just, is a reasonable person who gets along well with him. And
yeah, I mean, we knew right away that they had the same kind of older than their years reasonableness.
Yep. Yeah, so I really loved that moment. There's still, there's still a potential something there, even if it's buried very deep.
Yeah.
I don't know how hard I'm actively shipping it.
Well, can I tell you what I was shipping in this chapter?
What?
Of all of the, we're repiloting, we're reestablishing Undersiders dynamics. Taylor spends a lot of time thinking about Rachel in this chapter. And I loved it so much.
Yes.
Rachel is bossing around the new dogs, and Taylor confirms, like, oh yeah, these are the new ones, and Angelica, even though Angelica's
I'm so
hurt.
happy about Sirius.
And Taylor thinks they were slow to obey, but I think something about the look in Bitch's eyes told them they'd better listen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, Taylor's just thinking about the intensity of Rachel's gaze. And then Rachel falls asleep on the couch later, and Taylor just spends a long paragraph being like, Bitch looks so peaceful here. It's so strange seeing her relax and rest easily. She seemed to be on edge to a degree that would drive most people to insanity. It wasn't aggression or anxiety, but some combination of the two. Just watching her sleep, thinking about how she's feeling. She hashes through in her head, like, yeah, and she saved me, and she sacrificed all of her dogs, and now she's blaming me for that, and I understand. I feel guilty, right? Like, Rachel's a tough person to deal with, right? But Taylor is completely saying, oh my God, I really screwed this thing up, and I'm really sad about it.
It was on me, yeah.
So I was just thinking a lot about how much Taylor's thinking about Rachel in this chapter, and I wanted to frame it that way.
And she's also seeing her sympathetically, like you said, and seeing her what seems to me, I mean, obviously I don't know if she's right about what Rachel's thinking, but
True. Yeah,
seems
great point.
like she's seeing her pretty clearly. And she also thinks that, the more time we spend together, the more she seems like she hates me, like she's angry with me, and something has to give soon. There might be an explosion, And I think that's pretty likely. Bitch is not someone who lets things fester. She attacked Taylor straight off when she joined the Undersiders. I think there is going to be some sort of explosion. Yeah. I think it'll be good. I think it'll clear the air, probably.
True.
That will probably help reset things. These tensions need to break.
That's true.
There's also definitely, I don't know if it's an enemies to lovers vibe, but
Yeah. Right. I feel like
a sexy tension.
Yeah. I mean, there's chemistry.
Oh,
Whether it's erotic or friendship chemistry. She does think of Lisa as her best friend, but there's very little, they have their little all-in moment. But
Yeah, she doesn't spend a while describing Tattletale.
Right. It's just the intensity of that friendship feel. I mean, she's on good terms with Lisa right now. Yes. So it's not on her mind as much. She doesn't need to. But
yeah.
I guess reframing it again, taking off the Yuri goggles and putting them aside, right? It's really nice. We have watched that friendship grow from arcs 5 to 7 and 8, and then be totally betrayed in a way that Tattletale and Taylor, they kind of hit it off, and they've been there for each other. But Taylor intentionally invested in this friendship, and it is on the rocks, maybe worse than it's ever been. Yeah. And so of course she's sad. Here she is with not just her team that will help her do phase 2 and 3 of her mission, but these are her friends again. She's back with her friends.
Yeah.
But she has paid such a cost in this relationship with Rachel. And so, of course, it's top of mind for her.
Yeah. So we don't learn a lot more about Imp, but we do see a lot more of her personality. I was right about her being annoying. I don't think that's her power. Her power is teased. Taylor says that she hasn't seen... She's been with the Undersiders again for 3 days. She hasn't seen Imp rest. And she posits that, like, maybe she's one of the capes who doesn't need to sleep, but that would make more sense if I could connect it to her powers in some way. And then we don't find out what her powers are.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw that, like, Miss Militia doesn't need to sleep, which doesn't seem at all obviously connected to her powers. Like, the knife at her side sleeps for her. It doesn't make any sense. Like, I could definitely see Imp not needing to sleep somehow due to her powers, even if it doesn't seem connected. But what are her powers, Ted?
I know. Yeah, there's the moment where Taylor is leading the group at the beginning. I really liked this beat, that Taylor is actually thinking to herself, like, I'm leading the group. She selects the apartment. There's this thing where Bitch goes in with her dogs to check it out and make sure nobody's there. And then silently, Grue looks at Skitter and Skitter nods. Like, my bugs also checked it out, which to me is both a, like, Grue is checking in with Skitter, but also Skitter doesn't want to, like, upstage Bitch, who just cleared the room, right? Like, a really interesting dynamic. But Taylor is leading them with a flashlight, like, actually leading the group, even though she doesn't talk or take control of the scene later on, which I thought was an interesting way to position her. And then Imp is there, like, right
she's also
beside
supposed
her,
to be shining a flashlight.
She's shining her flashlight at the ground. Like, she's being completely
useless. And she's, like,
useless.
using a knife to, like, cut a line along the wall.
Yeah, exactly. Which was a great way to introduce her.
I can't say I got good vibes off her.
Yeah. She seems annoying. She seems young, right? Like the way Tattletale was saying, like,
you could go get stuff from that room.
Right, right. Someone who, I don't remember if she says your age or something.
A little younger, I think, was the idea.
But yeah, and then just a couple of arguments between Imp and Grue.
Yeah, Imp really was pushing back. Like, can we watch TV? And Grue's like, no, here are the reasons why not. And she's like, okay, but how about a movie? Like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
I can definitely see why Grue is annoyed, especially because, like, Grue is, like, almost 18. This girl seems like she's at least a few years younger.
Yeah.
Obnoxious. He already has a little sister to deal with.
Yeah. I wonder what you're thinking about that situation for Grue and the possibility of Coil.
I was just thinking about that. If
Coil.
he's not going to be with Coil, like, what is he planning to do?
Yeah.
It is possible that in the chaos of the city, it will be easier for him to get custody. Like, I'm sure there are a lot of just, like, siblings. You know, maybe his mom died. And actually, no, not a lot of people died, did they?
No, Capes.
Capes died, but not a lot of people. Okay,
minimal.
So probably not that. Who knows? Like, probably he's not going, like, the foster system isn't going to be active, and, like, they have so many bigger problems to deal with. So
I feel like it would be easier for him to get, like, de facto custody, but I'm not sure I buy it would be easier for him to get, like,
real
official
custody. No, I think that's true. Like,
de jure, So, but, you know,
so,
it's an
I mean, that has
theory.
been a big sticking point. I don't know what they're planning to do. Like, if Taylor has a plan to bring down Coil, it would have to be something that takes into account, no, but Brian still needs custody of his sister. How are we doing that?
Yeah, that's probably
it would have to be,
hardest.
like, working really in secret against him.
Right.
Which maybe they're gonna do. I don't know.
Yeah. How many secret betrayal plots can you have spinning at once, you know? Taylor did it very effectively for a short period of time.
Well, no. It turns out that Tattletale knew the whole time. I did have a thought at one point, like, maybe she's pretending to be okay with the Dinah thing. And I was like, no. she learned her lesson about trying to lie to Tattletale about her motives. So I don't think she would be stupid enough to do that. Yeah, so I said to you when we were talking about this chapter, it's like, I'm looking forward to getting answers. And you said, you know, maybe there'll be answers. And I said, oh no, is it just going to be more questions than answers? And this did give me a lot of answers, but it did also generate a lot of questions. So I'm just really looking forward to reading the next chapter and seeing what happens.
I was saying, there are a few chapters this arc that I've been looking forward to. And I'll tease you by saying one of the chapters I'm looking forward to is the one where you get some more definitive answers to some of these things.
Yes.
But yeah, this one's more of a tease and a repilot.
Repilot, yes. Just like Regent is piloting Sophia's body.
Oh my god.
We got a little bit of information about the restoration efforts of the city.
Oof, yeah.
I feel like, why doesn't the country in this world, you know, alternate United States, have like an endbringer restoration department?
I know.
And I was trying to think, like, okay.
Where's Cape FEMA?
You know, exactly. It does seem like there's aid being sent, but like very ineffectively. It doesn't seem like there are additional capes in the city, except for, well,
two teenagers
anyway, and Flechette. Like, come on, one temporarily assigned cape? Like, no. Maybe it would destabilize other cities to send capes because their villains would like rise up. I don't know. But I was trying to do the math on it. If there's an endbringer attack every few months, just say like average 4 a year.
Yeah.
So over a decade, that's 40 attacks. How many of those would be in the US? 1, 2? Like 1 or 2 attacks a decade? Maybe that's not enough to justify having a specific like government department that does this. But like, it just really seems like they weren't prepared for this at all.
Yeah. We've seen so little outside of Brockton Bay. I am almost afraid to like speculate for fear of accidentally confirming or not confirming something. But I do think that that's a fun question to think about.
Yeah.
And is it sort of a you rolled a 1, get fucked Brockton Bay? Or is it more like, I'm sorry, our hands are tied because X, Y, sort of like we would if we could, but we can't. And the question is, why can't they? Right? Like,
that's a good question.
I feel like somewhere in the range of those possibilities, Or, maybe it's like they got a bunch of money in aid and it's up to the local protectorate to distribute it. And, Pigo and Miss Militia are kind of doing a bad job, right? Like, it could be that too. Like, we don't know.
Yeah.
It's just really fun being back in Taylor's head. I missed her. Mm-hmm. Her bug surveillance is getting more sophisticated, right? She sets up these, like, dragnets with spider silk that reminded me of Parian, to be like, well, if someone uses a grappling hook, like, it'll disturb the web and then the spider will sense it and then I'll know. It's like very, very fun. And she's able to like case a whole apartment building. She lists off like a dozen randos that are nearby, right?
She's so good.
Yeah, it's very fun. And
there's only one master you have to worry about.
I know. They keep underestimating her.
Uh-huh.
My favorite character moment for Taylor, though, is she unpacks the electrical cords that they used to tie Sophia. And then she says, I'd finished unpacking the wires, so I picked up the empty box and entered the living room to put one box inside the other to minimize the mess. And this apartment is totally trashed because the family that lives here, it seems like, grabbed all their stuff in a hurry and left and may never be coming back, right? Like, because the Endbringer was attacking and stuff. And so it says so much to me about her that broken windows isn't a thing for her, right? Like, I feel like a lot of people, probably myself included, would be like, well, it's messy, I'll leave my trash on the floor. And Taylor's like, it will be minimal mess if I put this box back inside the other box so I can reuse it. It's just a very, very Taylor moment, and I loved it. Yeah, more thematically, like, it was really nice at the start, right? We got this opening, like, there are so many creepy crawlings in this abandoned apartment building, right? Like, the crisis here is making Taylor stronger, but in a way, it's also making all of the quote-unquote worms and rats of society stronger, right? We've had a little bit of Pigo talking about the merchants. We had Sophia's, like, predators and prey philosophy, and here we have, like, yes, bugs rise, like, the worms of Brockton Bay are ascendant thematically.
Amazing.
which I really enjoyed. We also have Bitch's dogs and Imp as new members of the team.
Yeah.
It sort of made sense to focus on both of them in this chapter because it's also emphasizing, like, they're not the same Undersiders, right? It's like,
depends who comes
it's like
and who stays,
you do
who goes.
kind of want them to go back to how it was, but Arc 8 was so devastating. There is no going back. You can't just go back to the dynamic that you had in Arc 4 or 5.
It's amazing they all survived, honestly.
True.
But the dogs didn't.
Yeah, but that sort of can't go home theme, or the this is a new season of Worm feeling.
Yeah, that probably book 1 would have been the first season, wouldn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You gotta end with Leviathan. Yeah.
Well, like a 22 episode season. Can't do that in like 8 Netflix episodes.
Yeah. I feel like a 22 episode half-hour animated show is what I would want for Worm.
Yeah.
And
I
then
love
like
that.
5 or 6 seasons.
Yeah, we're almost a fifth of the way through the book.
Yeah.
And it's only been
almost
like a
third
year.
of the way through the podcast. So that's how the...
Oh, right, because the chapters get longer.
Yeah. I love, I think I mentioned it in the opening, the procedural stuff about tying up Shadowstalker, right? Grue is
so
considerate of
good.
Sophia's circulation, which, despite Imp's sarcastic remark I was appreciative of. And the way that he secures the chair that she's sitting on with 2 other chairs, I was like cheering, because what this is, it's such a good detail. It's so Grue, and it's such a good detail from Wild Boar, because how many movies have you seen where they tie somebody up in a chair and it's unsecured and they knock themselves over in the chair and that lets them get to the wall or get to the knife, right? Like, just make it so that it's a little harder to knock the chair over. Like, it's easy enough that literally every time you see that in a movie, you should be thinking, why are they stupider than Grue? Right? Like, I loved that detail. I wanted to ask you, though, like, what's eating Brian? When he goes to take a rest, Taylor notes that he's, like, tossing and turning. Oh. You think there's anything in particular, or is it just, like, a character...
Could just be a character thing. There are a lot of options for what's eating him. What they're doing to Sophia is pretty questionable. I mean, Taylor's questioning it. Taylor is rejoining the group under unclear circumstances. He felt really close to her. He said she could be his best friend. And then it turns out she was lying to them, but now she's back. It's like, I can see that being a lot.
Yeah.
It's possible there's something going on with his sister and the rest of his family.
Yeah, for sure.
It's possible that they have a plan to not work with Coil, but still get him his custody that's maybe a little bit dicey, and he's anxious about that. It's possible that being the leader officially is hard on him, and it's a new source of stress.
The thing that I really liked about it is we got a little contrast between Rachel and Brian here, where Taylor's like, Rachel is like, she's pissed off all the time. She's somewhere between aggressive and anxious. She's living on the edge. She's going to blow up at me any second. And then she takes a nap and she looks totally peaceful, right? Like, she actually does just want to relax, and she's able to. She can check out. She's with her dog. She's in her happy place. Totally at peace. Brian is like Mr. Capable. I always want to be in control of the situation. I want to seem unruffled. He goes in the other room to lie down and he can't sit still. Right? Like, bitch actually wants to relax, but he wants to seem relaxed to other people. But he actually has this like inner turmoil. And I think we've sort of seen that. I've been meaning to call it out, but there are a lot of times when Brian seems stressed and he's got stoic body language, but his darkness is like boiling as sort of like a reflection of maybe his interiority. And I thought this was a similar thing to me, of like, he's always kind of like, Mr. Boss, I'm gonna be in charge of the situation, but like, give him some time to decompress, and something is bothering him. Yeah. I will say one thing to Sophia's credit. I appreciated that she knew her number was up and she was like, okay, what are you guys going to do to me? Yeah. Right? Like, she tries the fake out where she's like asleep, and then she's like, okay, that didn't work. Like, I don't have anything else up my sleeve. Yeah. And right, there's no more like BS or protest or something. So I had some amount of respect for that. I don't know if I want to look up and see if there's fan art of this scene.
Ooh. Yeah.
Fun. The face off, not of her getting like tortured by Regent, but like the part before that where she's tied up and they're facing off. Like, they have, like Tattletale versus Shadowstalker with Regent lurking in the background or something like that. Yeah, I guess the last thing is just another note. I should have brought this up when we were talking about Brockton Bay, but like, Lisa explains like, well, the city's trying to restore stuff, one place at a time, and I wonder if that's doing more harm than good, right? Like, this building is officially uninhabitable, but it's actually better than most places in the city. So like, it's a little bit of this like red tape bureaucracy, like, the people that have really bad at the sky high view. Yeah, like Pigo like musing on PR when Weld is looking down at a car burning in the street, right? Like, there's very much reflecting this like, I guess just the people who are trying to help don't know how to do it, I guess, which is it's a
hard job.
Yeah.
You think Coil will do it better?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I think that's all I have to say for now.
All right.
There are no new cape names, but I'm really happy to tell you that the first sentence of the next chapter is 3 days ago.
Ooh. Oh, okay. I really want to see the discussion. Oh, this is going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to this.
This is the chapter that I was alluding to. It's like,
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Of course, the problem is if we find out their plan, it's not going to work.
I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Should be exciting. I haven't reread it. Like, when we got to the end of Arc 7, you were asking, like, well, how's Taylor going to decide? What's she going to do? And I was like, how long do we have to wait? And I was like, yeah, that's Arc 8. That's Arc 9. I was like, okay, well, surely it's the first chapter in Arc 10. No, we had to wait all the way until here, but...
It's only the second chapter in Arc 10.
It's only the second chapter. It's not too bad.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to it.
Next time.
On Inchworm.
Worm is a web serial by J.C. McCrae. You can read Worm at parahumans.wordpress.com and support the author at patreon.com/wildvote. Follow us on Tumblr and Blue Sky at Inchworm Podcast, or find our Discord link and any other updates on inchwormpodcast.com.